guys, so today I thought I would share with you all of the books that I want to read in May. I can't believe that it's already May, but I'm sure I say that every month. I do have quite a few books. I think I have 8 or 9 picked out, but I did read quite a few in April, and I'm determined for this month's Yearathon theme. So I think I can knock out quite a bit off my TBR. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. So our theme for this month's Yearathon is rereads, and our challenge associated with that is big books. So what we attribute to be a big book is anything that is 400 pages or more, or about that. So the theme actually starts today, May 1st, and goes until Sunday night in whatever time zone that you're in. So for the week, I've planned out 4 books that I want to read. The first one is Burned by Ellen Hopkins. I don't have it with me. It is on my iPad. It has been, I think, 2 years since I read that, and I've never read the sequel/companion to it, but I really enjoyed Burn, so I want to give it another read. And I have 3 other ones that I would like to read this week, and the first one is The Messenger of Fear by Michael Grant. This I received 3 years ago from BEA, and I read it as an ARC, and I loved it. It is a YA horror thriller novel about the messenger. So the messenger sees all of the bad things that we do in our life, and he preys on the wicked, the bullies, to test them and to test kind of not necessarily their will to live, but their will for justice, and if they are willing to accept what they have done and move on. So if they cannot complete their challenge, they will face their biggest fear. So he is the messenger of fear. I loved it. I thought it was like a YA version of Saw, and I love those movies. They are a very psychological thriller. So if you're into that, I would definitely recommend reading this, and I will link my review for it down below. As always, I want to reread The Naturals. Every time we do a reread theme, I always pick this book up. It is one of my favorite YA series that I've read. So it is about a group of teen CIA agents, kind of. They're either CIA or FBI. I don't quite remember that detail, even though I've read it like 3 times. So it is just a bunch of kids that have natural super abilities. So they can guess what people are going to do. They can read the emotions very well. They see patterns very well. They just have enhanced natural abilities. So it is very drama filled, but also very mysterious. And the writing is just so well done. Loved it. And I have Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is one that I mentioned in my Books I Might Unhaul video, and a lot of you told me to try again. So it's been probably 4 or 5 years since I've read this book, and I never continued past the first one because I wasn't a huge fan. I think I gave it 3 stars. But it has received so much hype since then, so I'm sure you all know what it's about. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but yes, hoping to get to this month. So last month, Keisha and I did not get to this book, so we will be reading City of Ashes as our buddy read. We have been trying to make our way through this series. In March, we read City of Bones, and we were supposed to read City of Ashes, but we were both very busy, and we never got to it. So I'm determined to get to it in May and to finish it. This month, I received a book for review, and that was Weve, Murderous Web by Anne Rothman Hicks and Ken Hicks. This is an adult fiction that's more thriller and mysterious. It is about a New York City litigator, and she is following a case of missing money that ends up turning into a murder. So she is trying to find the murderer before he goes on a killing spree and before she becomes a victim herself. So I'm quite looking forward to reading this and reviewing it for you. I will leave the Goodreads information for it down below. Then a friend of mine, the same friend that lent me Rumblefish and You, lent me That Was Then, This Is Now by S.E. Hinton. I have been obsessed with S.E. Hinton books recently, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I actually have no idea what this one is about. I assume it follows the same gang-related style as her other ones, and if it is like that, then I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it just the same. So the last 2 books that I have are from the library, and they are both kind of horror thriller related. I have been in such a dark reading mood that I'm trying to get through as many as I can before the feeling passes. The first one is We'll Never Be Apart by Miko Jean. This is a YA thriller, more of a horror twist, that follows a 17-year-old girl named Alice who is currently locked away in a mental institution because she cannot get over the death of her boyfriend, who died in a fire that was set by her sister. So she is living in this mental hospital, and she starts hearing whispers from the other patients, or maybe ghosts that are in the hospital, and just trying to convince her that her sister is evil. So we kind of follow that line, and I think there's going to be some horror mental illness aspects left into it. Very excited. Love mental illness novels, as I'm sure you know. So I think this one's going to be good and creepy. And then the last book that I want to read this month is Anatomy of a Haunting by Lee Strong. This is a true story about the Baxon Road hauntings. So it is a 100-year-old house and there's ghosts in it, so it is telling the true story of that. I feel like this has been adapted, but I'm not too sure. So I will let you know when I read it. Hopefully I read it. So those were all of the books that I want to read in May. I know there's a lot, but like I said, I had a really good reading month last month, and I'm hoping to continue the momentum. If you've read any of the books that I talked about, make sure you let me know what you thought of them down below. And yeah, that's all I've got to say today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!